Well, we're back in the garage again. I have about 600 miles in this thing since the last video. Driveline vibration's been good. That's all sorted out. Just the transfer case drop. Was killing batteries. Did a parasitic draw test. Figured that out. It was the factory amp. Just pulled the fuse on it, and it's been running pretty good. But I developed death wobble. Just about everything on this Jeep right now is pretty new. The suspension links are new. The tie rod ends are fairly new. Springs are brand new. Track bar is new. The only thing that hasn't been replaced recently is the ball joints and the wheel bearings. Last week I found a bunch of play in the wheel bearings and thought that that might be my death wobble. But death wobble is usually more than one thing. So the wheel bearing replacement did make it better. But my money's on the ball joints. I have no idea if you're going to be able to see that or not. But it don't take much play. And I can see it moving. Well, hopefully in that last shot you could actually see the ball joint moving the camera. I have no idea. I was back on this side of the bar prying up in the tire. Let's get to replacing some ball joints. Now's a good time to check your pads and make sure that your slides are free. I actually just did the wheel bearings last weekend and freed them up and put some silicone paste on them and get your rotor off. And now I'm going to pull the unit bearing with the 3 bolts off the back. I'm leaving the axle attached to it because I don't need to take it apart. I already changed the unit bearing. So I'm just going to cut a couple of steps out of this process to save myself some time. I just took the last of these 13mm 12-point bolts out of the unit bearing. Like I said, I'm not going to disconnect the axle from the unit bearing. I'm going to pull it all in one piece. Sometimes they don't come out that easy. And that saved, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Pull this tie rod end free so we can get the knuckle off. I covered this in a different video. But you want to try and refrain from putting a pickle fork in there, especially if you're keeping the tie rod in, because that pickle fork is going to rip the boot, make it no good. So you want to smack them on the side, it should release them. Just like that. Having a hard time getting this cotter pin out, it's pretty rusty. So instead of screwing with it, I'm just going to tuck it in so I can get a socket on it. When I put the impact gun on it, should just shear it off, then I'll knock the piece out. And just sheared that cotter pin right off. I can just get in there with a pick and push the piece out. Well, let's see if we get lucky again and can just pound this thing off. There's a flat spot right there. Might be the time we get the pickle fork. Like I said, I'm going to replace the ball joint, so I don't care if I tear the boots. Yahtzee! That wasn't all that bad. Time to set up this ball joint press and try and get these out of there. Been a couple of years. See if I remember how it goes. Well, hopefully I have the right combination of nonsense to at least get this thing to break free, and then I'll figure it out from there. It's pushing. But she's going. Tap it up from there. Or we'll do that. Starting to move. combination to do all this. I only do it once every couple of years and don't remember. So whatever combination of adapters you have to make this work is the right combination. I bought a master ball joint kit a couple of years ago with all these adapters in it. Before that, I was cutting pieces of muffler tubing and pipe and whatever I had laying around. That's it. It's in. You just want to make sure these are going straight. And this one might not be. I don't know. Looks like it's going. That's it. One more tug for good measure, maybe. But it's a much scarier job than it actually is. It's not bad to do these at all. I've been at this probably less than an hour and I'm not really killing myself. Well, time to put the knuckle back on and reassemble. Alright, guess I'm going to look up some torque specs because I don't know them off the top of my head. Alright, torque these down. 75 upper, 80 lower. 55 for the tie rod ends. If you can't get the cotter pins to line up, always go a little tighter, not looser. Help if I had the right size socket. Yeah, you don't want to loosen it up to get the whole line up. Just tighten a little more. Don't forget to put a couple shots of grease in the new ball joints. Might as well do your tie rod ends and also your axle. You joint your axle here because it's really hard to get out when it's in the truck, so you might as well do it now. Alright, everything's all greased up. I'm just going to clean off this axle shaft a little bit before I put it back in the housing. Get the crap off it. And that's about it. Take axle, shaft, unit bearing, everything in one shot here. Put it back. Try not to let the axle shaft drag on the bottom of the tube. That's it. Bolt it up, put the brakes back on, wheels on. This side's done. I'm going to finish this side up and move over to the other side. Probably won't do any filming on that side. It's the same thing, unless something interesting happens.